the game was changing from people wanting to read an online review or interview, the written form, the traditional form, to using the other senses. They want to hear the interview. They want to see the interview. So I felt, why not? Podcast is the next wave.
Because I always tell people, like, when you put a group of people together in a whatever kind of business or team or magazine or even podcast, it's like chemistry, right? I always say it's easy to motivate people when it's like to reach the goal, to climb the mountain. We're going to win. We're going to get to the top. Finally get there, that's the hardest part, because then you have to be the champion and you have to reign. Like, you have to keep the title. Like, you got to defend the title.
Happy birthday, Elliott. Now, when we discuss all-time great duos, Elliott Wilson and B-Dot must be mentioned in the upper echelon. Their ability to have fluid conversation is far too often overlooked. The reason why is because together they are a luxury vehicle, and you take your car for granted until something goes wrong. But these two take you on the smoothest luxury conversational ride in all of hip-hop, and here's how. Our culture is full of wealth, talent, passion, style, history, and influence. This culture was built by remarkable people who impact the world every single day, but nobody talks about how they do it. What are the skills they possess to entertain, inspire, and shake up the world? Now, we're going to talk about it. I'm going to pay homage to those leading the way. I'm Jamal Nolan, and this is Culture Breakdown. If you don't know who Elliott Wilson is or B-Dot, allow me to briefly educate you to some greatness. Elliott is a journalist, TV producer, former editor at XXL Magazine, and the founder and CEO of Rap Radar. Can you say boss? B-Dot is a journalist as well as a broadcaster, producer, and the lead music correspondent at MTV, and of course the co-host of Rap Radar podcast. If you're new to this channel, thank you for joining us. You are in for a treat today. That's my word. But go ahead and hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and bell notification. If you love this culture and the influencers in it, we have new culture breakdowns every Tuesday. If you're a regular around here, you may have already noticed some changes in the new year, and this episode is no different. This is the first culture breakdown featuring two individuals, and you won't get the typical principle structure as usual, but I promise an even better breakdown. So sticking with the car analogy, let me show you how B-Dot and Elliott take listeners on an audio road trip and how you can apply these principles to your conversation skills. Every road trip and conversation has a starting point.
This guy goes by the name of Drake.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
What's up, sir? How are you?
I'm good.
Cheers
I'm
to
good.
this moment.
Yeah,
Cheers,
please,
man.
please,
Thank you,
please.
brother.
Thank you guys for coming out here.
Finally.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Tell them where we're at, Drake, man. Jesus, man.
Well, we are in Toronto, Canada, at my house, which is a nice thing to say because it's been a few years in the making. I just moved in about like 2 weeks ago.
What's up, baby? I heard you in Budapest.
I feel like I moved in with my auntie and uncle in Bel Air. Look at this.
Yo, if your son's an icon, what are you, like the triple OG icon? I can't even explain it,
That's
man.
what I tell them all the time. I was like, yo, you should, the song should be, my dad is an icon living. That's what you were supposed to say. That was what the hook was supposed to be. But yeah, I just did a verse on that.
You
So
did?
it comes out next week. So
I mean, in case you don't know, this is Will Smith.
yeah.
Starting off lighthearted and easygoing allows you and the others involved to get settled in, comfortable, and will allow them to be more at ease for an open conversation. We are just getting the GPS up so we know where we're taking this conversation. Seatbelts on so everyone is safe and comfy. Then naturally you want to take things slow before hitting the highway.
This place is kind of building a balance.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like sort of like, I mean, I live here like pretty much by myself, so, yeah, it's just bringing me a lot of balance, a lot of peace.
Talking about rapping, man. First of all, you put out this freestyle without this. I think he's kind of messing around, but it shook the game up, man. It went viral.
I
And
know,
everything.
right? I was like, I've been probably for 2 years trying to find, that way back in. It's
Don't make the mistake of hitting the gas too fast. You may be met with some pushback or resistance. There is value in small talk, especially if it's leading somewhere. You'll be surprised at what gems, stories, or revelations may come from the simple beginnings of a conversation.
It's funny. So I put that out, and Anthony Anderson hit me. And he was like, yo, it's crazy. He's like, dude, but you're not going to believe this. He's like, my son asked me, he said, does Will Smith rap? He said, he's like, dude, I couldn't believe. He's like, me and my son had to do 2 hours. He had no idea that you rap. So I was like,
the files.
Yeah. I know, right?
Which leads us to the next road trip essential: pit stops.
The initial visions that I had for myself just kind of manifested into
what were
all
those
of them.
goals then at that time?
I think when I first started out, I just wanted to be as important as Lil Wayne because I felt like nobody was ever going to be as big as Lil Wayne.
Now, Drake talks about Wayne and his work ethic, which isn't a part of the main conversation, but much needed.
From now and before and the future, I don't know if there'll ever be anybody that will work harder than that guy. So that was a big thing that I paid attention to as well. Was just like he has the most insane work ethic.
Pit stops and conversations are side notes and side stories. They are a vital part of communication, and you have to let them happen, even if it's not what you want to hear. Just like on the road, you use pit stops to get gas, food, or bathroom breaks. Same applies here. You need the additional information, gas, to take you further in the conversation, or food would be those really great stories you would have never heard if you didn't take a moment to stop. Also, road trips are never linear, and neither are great conversations. Elliott and B-Dot have this amazing gift to have someone tell them their life story or current journey without going in chronological order. They may go left or right, take back roads, but they always pick up every detail. The amazing part to me is that they prepare separately.
How do we prep? I think people would want to know that. Like, they're set because we prep separately,
Of
right?
course,
Like,
right.
I look up stuff, you look up stuff, but is there, like, for you, is there a set process of how you go about?
Oh yeah,
preparing?
absolutely.
Yes.
I can't reveal the secrets on the podcast.
This is the most astonishing thing to me, that they prepare separately and still have tremendous chemistry. This is as legendary as Jay-Z not writing lyrics. It's beyond amazing. But when you have the same agenda, I understand how that happens. By the way, that was my pit stop. Now back to the road trip. Every road trip has a long stretch. And in conversation, that's when you just let the person get in their zone uninterrupted.
My first $1,000 at 17 years old. And they handed me 10 $100 bills for rapping. And it was crazy. And I knew that I was never, ever gonna do anything that would stop somebody from handing me 10 $100 bills.
When you find the straightaway, this is the easy part. Put the car in cruise control and let them fill up the conversation with value and substance.
You were always legacy minded. I saw like in previous interviews and Complex, and even like on Underground Kings, you talk about how like I'm the greatest. You know, you said it before you knew you was. Did you always have this confidence coming into it, just thinking about the long game?
Yeah, and I also feel often that that things that I repetitively think about or say, I'm able to manifest.
And in every road trip, you have to slow down or speed up, and they did a great job of that here.
He's also on my album as well. Well, I mean, if
this album,
if the song, I don't know what's gonna make the album, yet, but we have done more music together.
How are you approaching this album?
Drake mentioned the album a few times, and they slowed the conversation down. But here, they're like, okay, now let's get into the album. Controlling the pace of a conversation allows you to get the most out of it. Obviously, every road trip has a destination. Where are we going? With Elliott and B-Dot, the answer is always the same. We are going to have another sensational conversation. Some of the biggest stars in the world sit down and chat with them, and I just showed you why. Also, they never talk over one another, miss a beat, or throw off the rhythm of the conversation. I could make a separate video alone about their chemistry. That's how great they are together. Anyways, thanks to Elliott and B-Dot for always providing the culture with classic interviews. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next week, I'm out.